What are we even talking about, man? We talking about sports here.
What's up, guys?
What's up? What's up?
What's up?
What's up,
It's we
boys?
talking about sports. We're back with another 4 quarters for you guys and some overtime, probably. I think we got a little overtime sprinkled in at the end, if I'm not mistaken. But before we get into the rundown, Justin, Ron, how are you guys doing?
Shit, I'm doing extremely well, man. Sports is in full effect. I think that's why we haven't really been potting as much, to be honest here, boys. You know, we've been watching these.
We've been doing our
basketball
homework.
games. Yeah, the hockey's on, hockey playoffs, NBA playoffs, NFL's around the corner, baseball's in full swing. So I've been busy with that, but it's good to be back on the pod. I'm excited. The topics look great for today's show. And, shout out to everybody who's been following us and still giving us love on all our social medias.
Yep. How about you, Justin?
You know, I've been better. I've had a little bit of a down time as far as betting goes. Just had some bad breaks, some bad beats, and looking to get it back on track. But yeah, I've been better. But right now, a little bit sad because of that.
I feel you, and I don't mean to, kick you while you're down, but before we get into this fourth quarter, let's have like a little pregame chat. What do you think about those comments that Jeannie Buss came out with a couple of days ago, or just made news today or yesterday about, hey, we have the 4th highest payroll. I expect us to go deep into the playoffs. Do you think that's her like taking a little bit of responsibility, or that's her like telling the players and the coaches they got to get it together?
I think that's more her mitigating the whole last week's comments about her still looking for other people when she's the leader, looking for outside advice outside of the Lakers front office. And so her kind of stepping up and saying something is just her kind of, hey, I'm not the pushover everyone thinks I am. I don't always go to my brothers or Phil for advice. I expect a certain culture here at the Lakers organization. I think that's more in response to that than anything.
Okay, Ron, you got your Lakers or your LA cap on. What do you think about these comments?
Well, I think the main thing here is that she was saying it because there was controversy that Clutch Sports was, kind of running the Lakers show and making the calls here. And she said, do they have the final say? No. Are they running the team? No, not at all. She's controlling owner of the Los Angeles Lakers is what she came out and said. She's held accountable for every decision that's made here. So I think it is to your point, Roland, that she's saying, hey, I want everybody to know that I'm still the main boss here. I'm the one who makes the calls. And in doing so, in taking responsibility, she kind of threw that responsibility on the players as well with the comment about having the 4th highest payroll. Because let's just be honest, man. I mean, you're seeing teams that don't have high payrolls making it deep. You're seeing teams that don't have Anthony Davis's and LeBron James and Russell Westbrook's, making a splash in the playoffs this year. So I think she kind of did a great job. She established herself as as the one who calls the shots, and she not threw shade, but she kind of drew the sand in the line with the players and the organization as to say, hey, we're the Lakers and we have the highest payroll and we need to fucking ball out because we haven't been.
I'm glad you brought up that point about Clutch Sports because there was a lot of talk, and there is always a lot of talk about the moves that they're making and all of that because of LeBron James' relation to Rich Paul and everything, but more specifically to the move that brought Russell Westbrook over to the Lakers. It's been talked about a lot, how that was LeBron's call. That's LeBron's move right there, bringing over Russell Westbrook. So people were maybe trying to twist the words a little bit and make it look like she was throwing shade on LeBron, but I wouldn't go that far. But I do think these people do want to avoid the blame for who brought Russ over, because I think we can all point that out as saying that, that's been one thing that really hasn't worked for them so far. And that's because I love Russ. I'm a Russ fan, but he's not the same guy, and he hasn't worked with the Lakers. So
not at all.
But enough about teams that aren't in the playoffs. I just wanted to talk about that as a little segue to the first quarter, because we do got a little playoff recap here for the first quarter. Just do the rundown real quick for you guys. We got the NBA playoff recap first quarter. Second quarter, we're going to do a little bit of NFL draft reaction and some offseason tracker, talk about some moves. Since you guys joined us with that NFL Draft Live podcast that we did a few weeks ago. And then the third and fourth quarter, we got Tom Brady, his new Fox deal. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And then for the fourth quarter, another MMA minute. Justin's gonna recap what the UFC Tap Hour guys talked about last week, and then go over UFC 274 and some of those results. And then we're gonna get into some overtime, but I'm gonna save that as a little surprise for you guys. It's not up on the screen. So without further ado, let's get into it. It's the NBA playoffs. Ron talked about it. It's in full swing right now. It's competing with the NHL playoffs. Other things are going on, baseball, but there's nothing like the NBA playoffs. There's drama everywhere, except maybe for one series, but there's still been drama in that series. But let's just start at the game that took place last night. The last game that happened was Phoenix versus Dallas. It was tied 2-2 after Phoenix won the first two in Phoenix. Dallas came back, won the next two in Dallas, shifted back to Phoenix. And after Dallas came out hot, took the first half lead. But for me, I was on the Suns first quarter, did not cash for me. Just going to throw that out there. But the Suns, they recovered in the second half, won by 30. There's a little bit of shit talk going around. Luka went into the locker room saying, hey, it's easy to talk when you're up. Everybody's tough when you're up. Justin, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this series so far? It's 3-2 Phoenix. Are you going to roll with Phoenix to close them out eventually, even if it goes to a game 7?
Yeah, I'm with the school of thought. If it's 2-2 and you win game 5, you win the series. That's just what I always think. Phoenix does go up. You know, Mavericks had a chance last night up until that second half where Phoenix goes, I think, on like a 17-0 run and just blows the game away at that point. I mean, you're still in the third quarter, 10 minutes left, and you're already seeing the tide has turned completely for Dallas. I don't think Dallas has enough to get over this and win 2 games in a row. I don't think they can do it. I'm looking at Brunson, and I'm starting to feel like when he's running the offense, they're doing better than when Luka's in. I think Luka's holding the ball a little bit too much, and the flow is not going. Jalen Brunson, he secured himself a bag this offseason. I expect him to probably be a max guy at this point now, the way he's played in the playoffs. I'm not sure what Dallas has, if they can resign him or not. They need to look into that. It's good to see Dallas in the second round because we've seen them, get bounced by the Clippers in the first round the past 2 years. We're seeing the progression of this team, but they're still not just there yet. So with all that, I'm going Phoenix to close out the series. I think they go 4-2 and they get the closeout.
That was going to be my last question to you. Do you think they win game 6 in Dallas? Because Dallas did win their 2 games at home before they shifted to Phoenix, and you got some big games out of role players like Dorius Finney-Smith. Didn't he hit like 7 or 8 threes in game 4? You get those performances from the role guys, but you're sticking with Phoenix in game 6.
Yeah, I think Phoenix will close it out. I think they're going back home too, right? Or is it in Dallas?
No, Thursday it's
going back to Dallas.
In Dallas. Yeah, I'm still gonna go with them in the closeout as long as the fan that hit Chris Paul's mom's not there.
All right, and Ron, what are your thoughts on this series so far? Are you with Justin? Phoenix is going to close out.
I am not agreements with Mr. Martinez over there, man. Okay. First of all, the game is Thursday, 8:30 ESPN on 8:30 on ESPN. It's at home, and Phoenix is favored by 2 points, which has a lot to say. Give me the Mavericks at home because Luka is pissed. We all saw the YouTube videos, the clips, the memes of Devin Booker falling on the ground, and saying the Luka special, man. So that's gotcha. You don't want to light the fire under Luka. I think it could possibly be the last playoff game in Dallas for the year. Obviously, if they lose, they're out. So he's gonna put the team on his back. I think he goes off, and I think everybody knows that he has the ability to do it. I mean, we could see, a 30, 10, and 8 kind of game, maybe even a 40-piece. Also, Chris Paul. He's on and off, just like every year. He's been a little bit more consistent, but it's Chris Paul. I'm not going to put all my eggs in the basket with Chris Paul. So the Suns are 32-9 away on the year, so they do play well. It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be a hell of a game 6, but give me the home team. However, if it goes back to Phoenix, it's over. Game 7, I think the Mavericks do everything they can. They waste a lot of energy to win game 6 at home in front of their fans, but the Suns just come out and put the nail in the coffin in game 7.
Yeah.
Phoenix and 7 for you.
Yeah. Phoenix and 7.
Yeah, I got Phoenix and 7 too, just because the Mavs, their team, they chuck it up. They shoot a lot of threes. and those threes tend to go in a little bit more when they're at home. And I think that they shoot enough threes, they're going to make enough threes at home. They should be able to step up and win the game. My thing with Dallas is Luka needs to be Luka. Like, they can't have any version short of Luka. Like, he needs to have, at least 10, 11 assists. He needs to have a 30 piece, because you can make the argument that Devin Booker was the best player last night. He was hitting a lot of shots. Really from the get-go. He's the one that kept the Suns in the game in the beginning when the Mavs got off to that hot start. So, and also, just as a CP3 fan, they were looking for the matchup on CP3. They were purposely seeking him out on those pick and rolls and getting him matched up in the post, so Luka and others can try and take advantage of him. So that's just something to look out for in Game 6 to see if they attack Chris Paul a little bit more. But I got Dallas winning this game at home in Dallas in front of their home crowd. Role players tend to play better at home, so I'm going to give them that benefit of the doubt. But Phoenix will close out in 7 games. The next one, let's keep it in the West, and they are playing tonight. Is this the nightcap? It's Golden State versus Memphis.
Yeah. 8:30 TNT.
There we go. 8:30 TNT. Golden State, they're leading the series 3-1. Ja Morant out for the series. Controversial play, I guess. People don't know when he got injured, whether it was him bumping knees with Clay when he jumped to try and block his shot, or if it was the knee grab by Jordan Poole, led Ja Morant to tweet and delete, broke the code. They've been talking about the code, what do you do in basketball, what are the unwritten rules of fouling people. Highly contested series. Memphis did give him a good shot while Ja was healthy, although they did get blown out in that. I want to say it was that Game 3. I'm blanking. I think it was a Game 3 they got blown out when Ja got hurt at the end. But yeah, Golden State, they're a lot better than Memphis when Ja's not there. I have them closing out tonight in Memphis. Golden State's a 4-point favorite the last time that I checked. Memphis, they got a lot of hype this year, right, for playing without Ja Morant. There's a lot of talk about their record without Ja. Were they really better without him? Because they went on that crazy run in the regular season when he was hurt, led people to believe that this team was for real. But it's different in the playoffs. It's more of a half-court game, and those inefficiencies. Even though they came out hot in both games without Ja, I don't think they have enough firepower to get a W. So I got Golden State here. Ron, what do you think on this one?
Give me Golden State, 8:30 p.m. tonight on TNT. The line is 4, over under at 218.5. With no Ja Morant, there's just no chance, man. Everybody kind of was pissed off the way the Warriors came out. They go from scoring 142 in game, in game 2, I think it was. And then in game 3, they come out and they, put up 101 points, the game where they barely won by 3. So I think the fire, is lit under them. They want to close this out early. They don't want to risk any injuries, themselves. They have guys who are coming off injuries. Clay's coming off an injury. Steph's coming off an injury. They saw what happened to Ja. I think Steve Kerr finally, puts them in their place. They're going into Memphis tonight. Without
No Steve Kerr. It's
no Steve
Mike
Kerr?
Brown again tonight. Mike
Brown again.
tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then they're definitely going to win one for the Gipper here. So I think, I don't know who goes off. The Warriors can. I was talking to somebody, man, and I think that the Warriors have that switch just the way the Cavs had that switch. Back when LeBron was there, Kevin Love and Kyrie, when they were kind of nonchalant, and then it was like, okay, when are the Cavs going to hit the switch? When is LeBron going to hit the switch? And I think that this Golden State team has that. So I think they turn up the switch tonight. We might even see a blowout early by a halftime. Finish the series off, go home, get rest, and get ready for the Suns possibly in the next round.
Justin, are you buying the Warriors here?
Yeah, I'm buying the Warriors. I think the Grizzlies are a good team with or without Ja. But with Ja, that puts them over where they can get the dub on a Warriors team. Without him, I don't think they can get there. They need to keep that young core together. Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, and Dylan Brooks, and of course Ja together. Find a way to keep that young core, because that's a pretty for real Memphis Grizzlies team as far as defense goes. The other night, Klay Thompson 0 for 7 from the 3-point line. Curry 4 for 14. Really bad, abysmal shooting night for them there. That's not going to happen every night. You can't bank on that. And like Ron said, it could be a blowout. I also foresee a blowout in the end, not so early, where the shooting starts to hit. Curry gets on his rhythm, and we see the threes fall. Otto Porter is not going to be the leading 3-point scorer tonight the way he was the other night. It's going to be Curry or Klay. Klay, we've seen some downstep on his game, but he's still pretty serviceable as far as being there at the 3-point line. I don't think he can defend the way he used to, and he can't get to the hole anymore like he used to. But I think he can at least hit some spot up threes. I like the Warriors to close it out tonight as well.
Yeah, I mean, Klay can get you 30 points just off of threes in one game. He can go off for 10 threes. He's that good of a 3-point shooter. But you do bring up a good point, Justin. The Warriors are not going to shoot that bad again. And if you couldn't beat them on a shooting game, you're not going to beat them when they're shooting good and they're firing on all cylinders. So I do agree with Ron. I think they're going to get him out of there early. I think this is a little bit of a statement game. They want to get that rest. Before we get to the East, do you guys want to give your thoughts on the Western Conference Finals, or do you guys want to break down the East first?
I mean, I'm good in saying that, the Suns and the Warriors should get there. It's going to be a hell of a series, and I can't really, go into it yet because, obviously there's still games.
Who do you got on early lean? So who do you got early lean? That's why we're here.
Geez. Oh, man.
We're going to look back at the tape.
Phoenix had the better record, right?
Yeah, Phoenix is the 1 seed.
So then they'll have the home court advantage in the West Conference Finals?
Home court.
Oh, man. Fuck me, man. Putting me on the spot. Give me the Suns.
Where do you lean?
I would like for the Suns to win here because I want to see CP3 get his for once. But I wouldn't be surprised if Golden State's the favorite going into the series. So look out for that. I want to see the lines especially. Yeah, but I'm going to park it right there because we're not quite there yet. But I do lean Suns.
All right, Roland, you can't put us on the spot and not give yours. So
well, yeah, I was gonna give my thoughts too. I'm a big CP3 guy. I love CP3, one of my favorite players since he's coming to the league. Even though I'm a Spurs fan, noted rivalry there, but big fan of Booker too. But from what I've seen, I kind of like the way the Golden State looks. I think they're gonna get a little bit more rest. I want to lean Golden State, but much like Justin saying, I want to wait for the line. So if I can maybe catch Phoenix as a dog, who knows? With that 7-game series, 7 games going back to Phoenix, I like their chances there. But Golden State, it's just the magic, the allure that's there with them. Like Ron said, they have that switch. They can shoot you out of the game. They have firepower that not a lot of other teams have. And I'm just hoping my boy CP3 turns back the clock a little bit, and he doesn't have to turn it back that far because he was giving us good performances earlier in the season. Hope he gets back to his ways, and because that's where it all hinges on for me. If CP3 is playing like the point guard, I'm all in on the Suns, but we're getting this version of CP3. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable putting it all on Devin Booker's back.
The matchups, man. It's just the matchup to me. Like right away, you think defensively, you give it to the Suns, right? You give it, Mikal Bridges. They have Ayton down there. But on the flip side, it's like you're gonna have Ayton versus Green. Golden State's gonna be smaller, so that's kind of a disadvantage for the Suns as well. Just real quick, personally, what I want, just because I can't stand Chris Paul, is I want him to get to the finals, and then I want him to lose in the finals because, bro, he's been like. How are you gonna be that guy complaining about every single foul when you freaking you chicken wing and you throw your head back and you're on every single play? Like, don't
he's gritty.
He's part of the flop squad. He's part of the flop team, man. So
he's on flop Rushmore.
He's on, there you go. He's on flop Rushmore.
That's a Roland quote, by the way.
Hey, trademark that.
What do you think about him saying that he'll see that fan later? He's like, I'll see you later. The one that put hands on his family members. I thought that was funny.
Chris Paul about that life. I saw something where there was he led his team down a secret tunnel to get to Luka or some shit like that.
Oh, no, that was just I think that was
that's a troll post.
Sports or something. All right, let's get to the Eastern Conference. Both these series are highly contested. One I have a little bit of an issue to pick with. It's Miami and Philadelphia. I didn't think Joel Embiid was going to play much in the series, but he came out and played. He came into game 3. Just fast forward to game 3. They were down 2-0, shifted the whole series. They won 2 games, much similar to Dallas, and also similar to Dallas. They got blown out on the road in Miami last night. I don't remember the score, but I know it was close to a 30-point game.
120 to 85.
There you go. Not close at all. Almost a 40-point blowout. I'm going to make this real short and simple. I think Miami's going to win. I think they're going to win in 6. I don't like a lot of what I've heard from Philadelphia post-game. Joel Embiid talking about he's in a lose-lose situation, talking about if I don't go out and play, people are going to call me soft. I go out and play. I'm injured. I'm not at my full capabilities. People are still going to say that I'm not enough. And then James Harden and others are saying that they're not engaged. Just not what you want to hear in a playoff team that's going back home down 3-2. So give me Miami in 6, even though I was high on Philly earlier this year and even into the playoffs. But this is where I bow out.
All right. Justin?
Well, I think the Heat are going to win here too. The next game, they'll get it done in 6, and I think the Heat, as far as being a 1 seed, might be the most disrespected 1 seed in this tournament right now, because everyone's thinking whoever wins that Milwaukee-Boston series is going to be the representative for the East. At least that's the circles that I've been talking to think that. So the Heat can get no respect. The other thing I got to ask is, are the Heat better off without Kyle Lowry? I mean, look at the points they put up last night without him.
True.
120 to 85. I don't know. I think the offense was moving a lot more through Butler. Butler was getting some double teams that probably weren't warranted, considering Jimmy Butler's not the best player on the court. He's a dog, that's for sure. But I mean, I don't know. I think that's a wrap as far as also the Philly project with Harden. I think that he's going to be leaving. I don't think he goes signs a max contract. Maybe he does. He's still maybe a max contract out. I'm not sure if he's worth that tag anymore, though. What do y'all think?
No, I think the Harden project is done, and it's a shame, man, because along with him, you have guys like Kyrie too. You know, guys who are going from team to team, wanting to chase those rings, which just goes to show how hard it really is, man, to consistently get to the. I mean, again, not saying it because he's my favorite player, but this is where we put respect on LeBron's name from going to the finals all those years in a row, bro. You know, it's hard. It's hard. And a lot of guys in the league want to do it, and sometimes it's just not possible. But as far as my thoughts on the game, I think the MVP snub will have a lot to do with Embiid's performance. You know, what is it, tomorrow? And I think that with what Roland was saying about them not being engaged, and a team that I can compare the Heat to is Golden State. You know, the Heat can kind of see the blood in the water, and they can say, hey, let's get Philly out of here. Let's go get some more days rest, because it looks like that Celtics and Bucks series, you know, is going to go, you know, at least 6. Yeah, at 7. So, you know, they'll get some days off. Jimmy Butler, like Roland said, is a dog. He's the veteran, and he's going to look at the young guys and say, hey, guys, I've been here before. We need to put this team out early. The last thing that you want to do, even though it is going to be in Miami, is go to that dreaded Game 7, you know, because anything can happen in a Game 7. If you have a chance, beat the 76ers on their home court, and beats, to me, the injury, him being snubbed, which, I mean, I think he got snubbed. Joker is a hell of a player, but I think Embiid got snubbed this year. So
it came in that Jokic got almost twice as many first place votes than Embiid.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's a crazy stat there. But as far as the line, Philly is favored by 2 points. The over-under is 207, and it's Thursday at 6 on ESPN. So if I'm a betting man, I would say, you know, why not take Miami with the points?
Yep. Miami +2. I like that. Even just take the money line. I think they're going to close it out in 6.
Right.
But yeah, that's it for Miami and Philly. We all got them closing out in 6. We're all in agreement there. I think that's the only one that we're in agreement all the way. Or are we all in agreement on Golden State? I think that's the other one too. But anyways,
yeah,
let's get to the last series here, and then we'll give our Eastern Conference final quick preview and prediction. Milwaukee versus Boston. Milwaukee is a 3 seed defending champs. Boston a 2 seed. Justin alluded to it earlier. This is everybody's pick to win the finals or to get out of the East at least is the winner of this series. It's been touted to come. The Eastern Conference Finals representative will be from this. Anyways, Boston just pretty much swept Brooklyn in the series before. It came in with a lot of hype. Milwaukee, gave it to them in game 1. They got a good response in game 2 from Boston. Boston came out and blew them right out. Milwaukee won the first game in Milwaukee, and then we got a good response game in game 4 from Boston. Jason Tatum finally stepped up, hadn't had a good few games, came in and showed everybody why we think he's the next superstar up. Who do you guys got in this game 5? It's back to Boston. It's about to tip off in a couple of minutes. By the time that people listen to this, the result will already be out there. Who do you guys got in this game 5? It goes back to Boston. The last time that I looked, Boston was a 5.5-point favorite. Do you guys think that Boston gets it done and takes a 3-2 lead and ultimately wins the series? Because they do got that game 7 at home. Ron, what are your thoughts here? Both of you guys are Lakers fans, so are you guys both against the Celtics here?
No, man. Give me the Celtics. I just think collectively, they're the best team right now. You could compare them to the Suns just because they're all around. They're great defensively. I don't know the status of Marcus Smart's situation. If you guys could kind of help me out there. I don't know if he's done, if he's back, when he's planned to be back or what, but give me the Celtics here. Game 5 actually is going on right now. It's 15-14 with 5 minutes left in the first quarter, so it looks like it's going to be a tight game. The Middleton injury was big. Giannis is obviously a freak, no pun intended, the Greek freak. I just don't think that he has enough against a squad like this. If it was him going against another superstar and another mediocre team, I think he would definitely get it done. But collectively, you have Al Horford putting up crazy numbers for the Celtics. I mean, old man Al Horford. He's been their leading scorer, hitting
Al Horford game.
Yep. I mean, father time. He's turning back the clock. But give me the Celtics tonight. It's gonna be tough in Milwaukee because it's hard to beat Giannis at home. But like you guys said. Yeah, but as you guys said, they did it once, and Game 7 in Boston, it should be a wrap there. There's going to be a game here either tonight or in the next 2 games where Tatum puts, that Kobe, cape on and does it for the Mamba. So give me the Celtics, man, winning the series.
I see you nodding in your head, Justin. Are you in agreement?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think this is like a 15-round boxing match, and Giannis is punching up, but he's on by himself. And while the Celtics got a good group around them, you're starting to see it at the end of the games where he's starting to get a little more tired because he's doing the heavy lifting for the Bucks. I think Celtics will win this in 7. They'll take that home court advantage and get it done. And I think the difference was just not having Middleton to rely on. As far as Marcus Smart goes, he has been playing. Okay. Everyone's been talking about how physical Golden State and Memphis has been. Y'all have not been watching Boston and Milwaukee. It seems like it's a car crash every play. I mean, players are on the floor every play. This is one of the most physical series I've ever seen, and it's awesome to watch. I think it's way more physical than what we've seen through Memphis and Golden State. But yeah, give me the Celtics in 7.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys here. I like the Celtics tonight. I like the Celtics. Actually, no, I take it back. I like Celtics in 6. I think they're going to smell the blood in the water. And, Ron already alluded to it. There's no Middleton. Giannis can only do so much. And Giannis, in my opinion, he is the best player in the league. I think he's proved it. Win or lose in this series, he's that guy. He's him. Giannis is my number 1 player in the league. But I do have them losing in 6 here. I think that Middleton injury is going to be too much to overcome. I know role players play better at home, but I'm not going to rely on Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton to get it done for me twice in a row. And, Boston already proved that they did it or that they can do it. They won that game 4, highly contested game, and Milwaukee took a big comeback in the 4th quarter. But give me Boston in 6 here. And then in the next series,
wait, hold on, Roland. I just got to stop you there. So you're saying that you have no faith in Bobby?
Bobby Portis.
Bobby Portis.
Man, I don't know. And even if they don't get an Al Horford game, I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown will prove to be a little too much firepower.
Any issue with Robert Williams being out? Do you think that makes a difference at all for the Celtics?
What's the status on Robert Williams? Is he?
He's out this game, and I want to say he's out one more.
Man, that guy's a dog, man.
Yeah,
he's ruled out for. Yeah, he's not playing tonight. I do think it's a big loss for the Celtics because Robert Williams does represent some of that post presence for them. It's not too much offensively. When I say post presence, I mean defensively. Stops people from going to the paint. But I think for this series in particular, they still have enough to get it done offensively and defensively without him.
Yeah,
I'm hoping so.
Milwaukee really doesn't have that true five. I mean, Lopez is out there, of course, but I mean, he's comfortable with shooting threes, so he's not, anybody that you need to contain, down low.
Yeah.
I got them in part of one of my parlays, so I really need that leg to hit.
Hey, Justin, you've been betting a lot more, man. Where's this betting coming from? Are you in like a chat or something with these guys who bet?
Yeah, I'm in a few chats, a few circles,
sounds
and
like it,
just
man.
a little more active during playoffs. I had, during the season of the NBA, I pretty much took it all off. But once playoffs hit, you want a little something on it to make it a little bit better when you're watching.
You must be with Bet King, man.
That's what I'm with.
Celtics down 19-14 right now. Just went to a little commercial break. Just quickly, if Miami comes out of this series against Philly, like we're predicting them to, and Boston comes out, give me Boston
or Milwaukee.
Give me Boston. Give me Boston or Milwaukee to beat Miami. But yeah, give me Boston over Miami in the next round.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement there. It's crazy, just like how you guys said. I mean, not a lot of people are putting respect on the 1 seed in Miami, but not a lot of people put respect on the 2 seed in Boston. Yeah, either. So to have these two, teams go against each other, somebody could easily said, 1 versus 2 Eastern Conference, simple. But when all eight teams were involved at the beginning of the playoffs, they weren't the teams predicted to be there. So I mean, this is going to be really, really good to watch.
All right. That was the playoff picture. Anything else you guys want to talk about in the NBA before we move on?
I love that first quarter. Great first quarter there, man. Came out hot.
There was a lot of fouls and there was a long first quarter. Got in the bonus early. A lot of free throws. Took a little while, but we moved on. All right, let's move on to the second quarter. Changing gears, changing sports. Like I said in the introduction, you guys were with us during the live draft podcast. That was our last live podcast that we did. We went live with y'all for the 2022 NFL draft. We stayed with y'all through much of the first quarter. For those of you guys that are watching on YouTube and Facebook, we got the results up there for the first round. Trayvon Walker from Georgia. He was the guy who sprung up the draft boards late in the process because of his measurables and his 40 time and all of that good stuff that you track at the NFL Combine. He usurped Aiden Hutchinson, who was supposed to be the number 1 pick. He ended up falling down to Detroit at number 2. Real quick, I'm not going to get into all of the picks here, all 31 first round draft picks. Ron and Justin, let's just break it down to the top 10 here because I have a couple of questions. But for the top 10, what did you guys like? What pops off the screen to you guys? Or
top 10?
Yeah, top 10 or just the draft in general, the first round. Who's like the most?
Oh shit, man, Philly easy. I think Philly had a hell of a draft. They did really well, and then the trade heard around the world. Tennessee, I mean, it wasn't something draft pick wise, but I think they did extremely well also. But I hate to say Philly because they're in the NFC East with our beloved Cowboys. And speaking of the Cowboys, I didn't love the pick, man. I know I'm kind of just going on here, but I top 10, but I'm going on here and as soon as they picked the man, I mean, you hear the dude is bad, gets a lot of penalties, needs a lot of coaching. So I didn't love the Cowboys pick, not only because of the player, but because there was so many studs left on the defensive end. And I know we did well on defense last year, but why not give Dan Quinn another weapon, man? Let's have a defense like when Peyton Manning was with the Broncos and Von Miller and that defense won them the Super Bowl. Why can't we just do that? Mediocre offense, but exceptional defense. I think we had an opportunity to do that, and we totally whiffed with this pick. Obviously, offensive lineman was a necessity, but if he wasn't one of the top offensive linemen, I mean, maybe we could have got lucky in some trades later on.
Were you disappointed that the Cowboys didn't trade up? Because there was talks of us trading up and maybe getting a receiver or getting one of the splash names that are sprinkled up at the top of the draft board.
I really didn't mind it. I don't mind saving some money. Maybe late that way we can get a player later on in the season. Jerry Jones is very, you really don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
So
he talks a lot.
Yeah, but I'm kind of glad that he didn't do anything because some of his moves aren't the best. Obviously, we got really lucky with Micah Parsons, but I wouldn't trust Jerry. I'd rather him just chill and not spend the money or doing something crazy in the first round.
I like that, and I like that you called out the Eagles as your favorite draft performance, I guess, of the first round and the draft in general. They were one of my top picks. I really liked the trade going up and getting Jordan Davis at number 13, and then going and getting A.J. Brown for Jalen Hurts. I thought those were all big moves that were made. Justin, who's your favorite team in the first round and then the draft, and then maybe talk a little bit about what you think about what the Cowboys did.
Favorite team draft-wise had to be the Jets. I think they did the most with their picks, as they usually do. And you see what happens. They don't use them to their advantage. They end up on other teams. That happens to the Jets, but I think they had the best draft night. Now, draft overall, as a whole, I would have to give it to the Eagles as well. Picking up Jordan Davis, getting a Kobe Dean in the third. Sure, he has some health issues to get over, but I think they did the best as far as the whole draft goes, as far as the Eagles do. And the Cowboys, man, no assurance as a fan now. These past few drafts, I always felt pretty good. Michael Parsons pick, I was like, well, we wanted someone else, but we got Parsons. We knew what he could be if he lived up to his potential. Sure enough, he did. The only thing I can look at is what was picked after 24. I see the name Devin Lloyd on there. Man, that would have been a nice addition. Another linebacker who can move, 60 yards, as they say, sideline to sideline, very well. He's pretty fast from Utah. That would have been a nice addition because I know Van Der Esch is probably on his way out. I don't think we're going to re-sign him to another contract. So that would have been a nice pickup. The only name that I do like out of everything the Cowboys drafted is Sam Williams, the edge from Ole Miss.
Yeah,
I saw him. He's pretty good. Has a big motor. Size-wise, he's all the physical traits, they all line up. But other than that, man, there's just no hope with this draft. I'm so upset, man. It's hard being a Cowboys fan. Like, I keep looking at all the things they do wrong against me, and it's just starting to add up. And I don't know, man. I absolutely hate this draft. Tyler Smith, I think that's a waste of a pick, honestly. I hate it, man. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know what the fuck they were doing.
So,
I'm in the dumps when it comes to the Cowboys. I'm in the slums right now. There's no optimism. I hate to be the guy, but it's just.
I'll echo some of your sentiments in that I'm disappointed in the Cowboys' lack of action. I would have liked to see them trade up, no matter what it would have taken, because it would have just shown that they're trying to do something. Because to me, that they haven't addressed any of their needs. The only, I guess, offseason news that you hear about the Cowboys other than the draft is who they're letting go or who they're trading away or who signed somewhere else. That's been the most disappointing. So that's why with this draft, to me, there's a lot of holes for the Cowboys to fill. They had to fill a receiver because you can't go into the season with the receiver core that we have. So we had to draft a receiver. The offensive line, we lost some guys. Tyler Smith, I'm not going to completely crap on him. I know he has some issues with penalties and he's not the best pass blocker, but he can move some guys. He can run block. He's a big dude. I also don't think we're going to ask him to play left tackle right away because, we still got Tyron Smith. Probably try him out on the right side or try him out at
We
guard.
got Terrence Steele at the other tackle, so guard makes more sense.
Try him out at guard. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass there. Like Justin and Ron both said, though, there were a lot of studs on the board, so it made that pick a little tough to swallow. But I do like Sam Williams, big production. Justin alluded to his motor. He did have the stats to match that. He got close to 13 sacks last year. He ended it with 12 and a half for Ole Miss. And the one that I'm a little iffy about, and it was, to me, I'm an offensive guy. I like the receivers. I want the shiny toys that the receivers are out there. You know, I was excited when we drafted Des Bryant. I was excited when we drafted CeeDee Lamb. I still remember those drafts. I still remember how excited I was for both of those players. Jalen Tolbert, South Alabama. I had to be honest, I hadn't seen any of him. I hadn't watched a single South Alabama game. I had to go watch some YouTube on him. He's a good route runner. The only thing that occurs to me is he's gonna have to step in right away. That's the thing with these draft picks is why they're so important, is because the Cowboys can't miss on these, because these guys are gonna have to go in and contribute right away because the holes that we currently have on our team. So the first two I'm fine with. Jalen Tolbert, I hope he can come in and produce, because CeeDee Lamb can't be the only guy that we're throwing out there. Michael Gallup is so hurt. We lost Cedric Wilson. So receiver was a big position for me this year, and I'm a little sad that they didn't try and get like a guy like Burks from Arkansas, who went 18 to Tennessee, or maybe even trading up even further and getting a big splash name. But that's just me. My favorite draft out of everybody, I'm going to have to jump on Justin's bandwagon here as far as the Jets. I really liked what they did. They got Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson. I knew Justin was going to pick Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave as his favorite draft performance because of his Ohio State ties, but really like what the Jets did there, and can't forget the Eagles. They did a good job with their draft. My question for you guys, though, what do y'all think about the quarterback slides? Kenny Pickett, Malik Wilson. Kenny Pickett ended up being the only quarterback drafted in the first round at number 20 to the Steelers. Are you guys surprised that only one quarterback was taken in the first round, or were you expecting that because of the crop of guys that were out there? Justin, what are your thoughts? I saw you shaking your head and just like you expected this to happen.
No, I wasn't surprised that only one, because of the class that it was. I just thought that my sentiment was, if one does pick, some others will pick quarterbacks in the first round. They'll follow. They'll get a little aggressive. They'll, I need to get a quarterback too. I think the talent evaluators saw that the quarterbacks are not there and decided, you know what, we will pass. I don't see Kenny Pickett as a number one QB in the NFL. And that was who got drafted first. I like Matt Corral. Unfortunately, he has some issues surrounding on the outside that I think kept him away from being a first round pick. But that was a Heisman candidate for most of the season until he got hurt.
Had production, played in that Ole Miss Lane Kiffin offense. There's a lot of talk about him. He ended up getting drafted where, Justin? Do you know? Did you keep track of that?
I don't know where he ended up. I can look it up for you, though.
I think he ended up in Carolina. That's my first guess. But Ron, what are your thoughts? Were you surprised that only one quarterback was taken? Do you like Kenny Pickett?
Not surprised at all. Just like Justin said, I'm not surprised that Kenny Pickett got took, because if you're the Steelers, I mean, and you're looking at your quarterback, and you're looking at your roster, and you look at the quarterback lineup, you're like, I mean, I ain't got shit, So why not try to bring in Pickett? I mean, dare I say, Ben Roethlisberger didn't get picked, as high as Pickett did, obviously, and look at the career that he had, with the Steelers, took them to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying Kenny Pickett is Ben Roethlisberger at all, but maybe that's their thought process. As far as the quarterback who got drafted to the Titans, there's already controversy there, with Tannehill coming out and saying, like, why do I have to mentor this kid? And you took the biggest weapon away from him. If there is going to be a quarterback battle and, say you insert the rookie late, if you have a bad season, put him in the second half of the season. But you do have Derrick Henry there, to help him and, support him. I mean, he can't really screw up and handing off the ball to Derrick Henry. So I think the Titans did a hell of a job getting him. I mean, the talent's all there. His ceiling is really, really high. So great job by the Titans. But to answer your question, as far as the quarterbacks, not surprised at all, man. I mean, happy for Pickett. He's still going to have that to his name that he got drafted in the first round. But it's on to next year for the quarterbacks in the draft.
Yeah. And there are some highly touted quarterbacks in that next draft. Just to give my thoughts on this, I was a little surprised that only one went because this is a quarterback happy league. I thought, much like Justin, that once maybe one of them went, there'd be a little bit of a run like what was experienced with the wide receiver position. You got London at 8, and then Garrett Wilson at 10, Olave 11, Jameson Wilson 12. I thought something like that would have happened, but much like you guys, this isn't the best class of quarterbacks. I wish all these guys success, but as far as prospects and where they stack up, definitely don't stack up as high or as nicely compared to some of these other classes. So I'll just leave it at that. Anything else you guys want to cover with the draft in the second quarter?
Yeah, I do have a question for both y'all, and it doesn't have to be elaborate or anything. I just want to know what, as far as a draft grade goes for the Cowboys, I want to see how far of a pessimistic I am about this. What do you give that draft grade-wise?
I mean, it's hard to grade it because, again, you need the guys to play. So I think that's a big
well, this would be the pre-play draft.
Just looking at it, I'll give them like a C- just because they address needs. Like they needed help on the offensive line. They face freaking Randy Gregory, so they got an edge guy in the second round. Did a receiver. They went out and did that. So they addressed some guys. I like Ridgeway from Arkansas, the defensive tackle that we got in the 5th round. So I'll give them a C plus, B minus ish. Like I'll give them like a 78.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the D. Just the only reason I'm not saying F is because Roland said that they address needs, which is true. If they didn't address the needs, I definitely would have given them an F. But just the fact that they didn't take, I'm a big take the best player available kind of guy, and the fact that they didn't do that, to me, has them down at a D. And oh man, it's just sad. But to their defense, this wasn't, and this kind of goes for the quarterbacks also. It wasn't the most talented draft class coming out of college, either. True. So, I mean, there weren't a lot of studs. There weren't a lot of big names. I mean, even Hutchinson is great, but there were a lot of people who didn't like him, who felt that he had a lot of flaws, and he was number 2 overall. So when you have your 1 and 2 picks that aren't quarterbacks, first of all, and don't have the highest grade, there wasn't a lot of, big news at the combine. So the draft in itself wasn't very great talent-wise to me, in my opinion. So, but real quick, being from Texas, a lot of other people root for this team. The Texans, shout out to the Texans because they did really, to me, have an impressive draft.
All right.
You like that Derek Stingley Jr. pick?
Yes. Yeah, I did, man. And you see, that's to me where the Cowboys could have gone. Not necessarily him, but I mean, on day 2, the Texans, picked up the receiver, Minchie. They got a linebacker from Alabama as well, Christian Harris, guys who are winners. They come from winning programs. So the names were there. And, Stingley's a great pick. They got a guard to protect, Mills. So shout out to the Texans. Hopefully they do good just because they are from Texas and we got to represent Texas, man.
Well, Justin, what was your grade for the Cowboys? You gave them an F, so you gave them like a 40 or something.
F plus.
F plus. I like that.
All right.
I'm not all the way out. I'm still here. It's just frustration airing at this moment.
I get you.
Good second quarter, boys.
I'm frustrated too. All right, we're not going to have a halftime. We don't do halftime here. We push through. We don't need breaks like that. So we're going to push right through to the third quarter. This one should be a little quick. I just wanted to bring it up because of this little description here. Guys that are watching on YouTube and Facebook, I have a tweet here from Mr. Brady. Mr. Brady officially signed on with Fox Sports to be their new lead analyst. He's going to be play-by-play guy. They just lost and I think Joe Buck are both gone. I think they're the new crew.
They lost Joe Buck,
if I'm not mistaken. I think
they're Amazon guys, I believe now, Aikman and Buck.
No shit. Well, I saw that Buck was gonna announce for the PGA. I know he's doing the PGA Championship, I believe.
Cash for them.
So damn, I love me some Joe Buck, man. Especially when baseball season comes.
Yeah. So here, Tom Brady, the deal is worth up to $375 million. Just a little tidbit here with his salary included. With the salary included this year, for his services as a Bucks quarterback, he would have made $317 million. So this contract is going to outweigh anything that he's done earnings wise with the NFL. Are you guys excited for Brady? Do you think he's going to do good as a play-by-play guy, like some thought Peyton Manning might be, although he has a Manning cast now? What are your thoughts on this?
I think that the numbers pretty. I can see why it'd be more than what he's made in his career. He does take a lot of team-friendly deals, so I get that. The interesting stat about this number, you're looking at what Romo just signed and Aikman signed. Yeah. If you combine those two deals, this deal that Tom Brady just got is worth $1 million more than those other two deals. So Tom Brady's worth one Romo, one Aikman, according to Fox. The other thing that I think that is outlandish about this deal now is we don't know if Tom Brady's any good on the microphone.
Yeah,
we're just assuming he is. You know, we see that he's kind of smart on Twitter, but is that part of him? Is that a team that's doing that? I don't know. So 375 mil seems like a lot, but I mean, the lowest you can do is be Drew Brees. Drew Brees is terrible on TV. So as long as he's better than that, I'm sure he's got his worth at 375. But man, these deals are, you know, outlandish. I think more than what he made in his career for a 10-year deal. Let's see.
Well, I think Roland had said before we started that Fox came out and said, "Hold on, pause." You know, the numbers might not be that, but it looks like they are going to sign him to a crazy, stupid deal. But maybe the numbers might not be exactly what is showed here. But I mean, if you put in guys like Chris Sims, and Phil Sims in front of a camera, I mean, I don't think Tom Brady can do any worse. I have to watch Phil Sims on CBS every fucking Sunday, and I hate it. And whatever it is,
it's not hard to raise the bar, is what you're saying, when it's that.
I mean, I know they're not getting paid the money that Brady is, but I mean, you have guys like Booger McFarland on TV, man. Come on.
Now he's not getting nowhere near Brady money though.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I'm saying there's people on TV that the Achos, who I hate the Achos. So if I have to hear them, then I don't mind hearing Brady. I guess.
I love Manny Acho.
Texas boys. I think you bring up a good point, Justin. It is kind of crazy. We haven't heard Brady in the booth, but then again, we didn't know what Romo was going to be like. And I'm sure we didn't know what Aikman was going to be like. So gotta take your chances. And he's the GOAT, so I'm not going to question it too much. He's the GOAT. And,
exactly.
Media rights, you hear the crazy numbers that these media companies are paying for the rights to the games and all that. So if you can make that money, go ahead and get it. So Tom Brady has already got the next bag secured. And dude, this guy's he's addicted to football. I mean, think about it. He's playing football all the way up till he's 45. And then what's he going to do for the next 10 years? These play-by-play guys, they travel, just like these teams do. He's going to be doing meetings. He's going to stay involved with the game. This guy, he just can't stay away from football, does not want to go back home and do chores and cut the grass and do stuff like that.
He's want to be a family man. Well, while Roland's cutting off, anyway, I'm interested to hear these stories that Tom Brady has to say. I think they're going to be very interesting. And And the other thing is, I'm sure players are going to want to tell Tom Brady some of these stories too. So the inside scoops Tom Brady's going to have access to, you know, the regular Phil Simms guy is not going to have access to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another thing for me here, Justin, is that it takes him away from the front office. You know, some people were saying, "Hey,
that's
Brady,
a really good point to bring up, Ron."
Yeah, I mean, Brady, you know, people are saying that he loves football so much he's going to stay involved. You know, does he become front office? You know, people are saying it about Aikman, but Aikman went to the booth. So now we know for the next 10 years he won't be involved in the front office.
Now, what I'm interested in to know is any of this deal paid up front, or is this has to be like you get your first check the day of? Like, are they already giving him some of this cut? Like, what's the deal? You know?
Well, Brady and his lawyers aren't stupid. I'm sure that
Obviously,
I'm sure that he's gonna get some sort of guaranteed money before, you know, it all kicks off in the booth.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm looking forward to it. Another guy like Romo, if he's anything close to that, is going to be awesome, especially knowing Romo's on CBS. When we watch our Cowboys games when they're on Fox, we know we're getting something good. Now, it's just going to be funny to see if he has any biasness or anything comes out, because sometimes it can be hard to hide that. I know with Aikman, maybe it's not so hard. He does kind of call it evenly when he's talking about the Cowboys. A lot of the fans who hate that about him say, oh, he's a hater. I appreciate that, because he's not a homer. He's not just calling it one way. He's calling it fair and square. Personally, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, as Cowboy fans, how do you not like Tony Romo and Troy Aikman in the booth, man? But that's enough of that. I think that was a solid third quarter there. I hate talking and putting praise on Tom Brady after all the praise and all the accomplishments and all the accolades that he's already got. So what's up for the fourth quarter, man? What did you guys have? Oh, wow. Surprise, surprise. The fourth quarter is J-Mart 8242's favorite segment. Favorite time of the day. Favorite time of the week. It's
all right.
time.
Let's get into this. You
don't have your counterpart here in Big Ben Diesel at Big Pat 44 on Twitter. So I'm going to let you take this. I'm going to ride your coattails all the way for the entirety of the segment. So the floor is yours. We're coming off a crazy card. What we're going to talk about in the fourth quarter is the MMA card, the knockout heard around the world, the sleeper fight, which we weren't expecting with, Thug Rose, and the guy who couldn't make weight and wins the fight, but can't get the title. So those are the headlines for it. I'm going to let my man J-Mart 8242 take you guys through it. He's going to give you the scoop. You guys, though, the card might not have been great, but the pod that you and Ben did, you guys picked some fucking winners, and I'm going to let you go over all of that, man. The floor is yours. Take it away.
All right, so Ron alluded to the MMA tap hour like we love to have. This is the MMA tap minute. It's going to be brief. We had 3 fights that we're going to go over. If you watch the MMA tap hour, you cashed on the last 3 fights, the ones that we talked about. The first one was Chandler and Tony Ferguson. Mm-hmm. This is the only part that we got wrong all night. We said that Tony Ferguson could not be finished. He had gone up against Oliveira. He had his arm bent backwards and didn't tap out. He went through Gaichi. It took the ref to stop it because he wouldn't fall. And he was taking some of the craziest shots, the toughest shots I've ever seen Tony Ferguson take, and he didn't fall once. So I thought, oh, it's going to be no problem as far as that goes. He's going to get through the fight. You can bank that he's at least going to get through the fight at minimum. That's what we're going to bank on. Sure enough, the knockout heard around the world, the craziest front kick I've ever seen as far as power goes. He sent him into the other world, bro. This Tony was in another dimension. He falls flat face forward, and he's on the floor for what seemed like eternity. I mean, people said he never got up. The people that were there, I had a cousin go, by the way, and he was like,
wow.
He kind of ruined it for me in a way because he's seen it in live time. He texts me, go to sleep, MF. And sure enough, this dude's on the floor 10 seconds later on my TV. I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? The craziest fight. So if you had Chandler like we did, you cashed in there. Second off, we gave you the underdog pick. I said the live dog will be Carla Esparza. She chain wrestles really good. You should take her. there's a really good chance she gets this win. Sure enough, I had her winning 4 rounds to 1. She put the pressure. She was pushing the pace a little bit more, and she controlled the octagon. That's what the judging criteria had to go by, because this was a snooze fest. I mean, if you were watching that fight, God be with you, man, because it was bad. I was watching the Canelo fight also. I put that one on the main screen, and I was watching the other one on my smaller screen because it didn't deserve my main screen. And that's because I am somewhat of a Namajunas fan. But yeah, I think the fault there was her coach, her fiance, the cornering advice that he was giving her. He was acting like he was the main head coach and not giving Trevor Whitman, who we gave coach of the year of last year, any chance to, hey, let's go in a different route. The game plan's not working after all. Nothing. And today he came out on a podcast and said, oh, it's because the UFC had a slippery octagon. Otherwise, we're knocking her out. I'm like, nah, man, I don't think that's the case. I think she needs to get away. I think she needs to get away from Colorado. I want to say Trevor Whitman has taken her as far as he can take her, and a new camp could bless her and give her some new skills. And I almost feel like she's already kind of seen that, because today it came out that she had messaged Joanna Jędrzejczyk, who's fighting another girl this next 2 weeks, if she could go to her camp and help her out. So they used to be foes, but it kind of seems like she's trying to branch out a little bit, extending an olive branch to Joanna. And I think Joanna's kind of going to take that there. So we'll see what happens. And then we have the main event, which is Chucky Olives and Justin Gaichi. Unfortunately for Chucky Olives, something was up with the scales. I mean, you have 20 out of 30 fighters going half pound over. He weighed in the night before. He's exactly at the 155 championship weight, doesn't eat anything, shows up to the backstage, weighs 155 backstage, goes up to the scale. Unfortunately, these are not digital scales. And I think that's what needs to be called for now, is for the UFC to have a live digital scale where it's even connected to a server that's not within them, so that we can see what the weight is. I don't know why his team let him leave at 156 and not come back and make weight. When he came back, he didn't look like he had sweat, nothing. I don't know if they just made him, get a little more water out, but he looked super dry coming back, and he didn't make weight. He was 155.5, so the only one eligible that night was Justin Gaichi for the title. Man, Charles Oliveira, he's put on a streak. When he gets hit, he has this new technique these last 3 fights, because he's been dropped in every round of the first round in the last 3 fights, where he goes down into a submission to shell up a little bit, and he waits for you to come into his guard, and then he's a submission specialist. He's a snake on the ground. He's going to get you every time. And if you do come into his guard, he's going to get you. If you don't, you want to stand up, you don't want to get in there, you know what the ref's going to do? He's going to stand him up, and you can't touch him for those few seconds while he gets up. He gets up very slow, gets his bearings back, and then he finishes fights. There's a lot of talk about, there's a hype train on him. No, man, I think the boat is sailed on this guy. He is the real deal. The resumes are already there. So if you're not believing already, it's too late to start believing now. He's got the resume. Unfortunately, he's going to be the number 1 contender, and who knows what's going to be fed to him next. There's a lot of rumors it'll be Islam Makhachev. I know they want Islam and Benil to fight each other to get that going. I'm not sure how it's going to end, but it would be very unfortunate if he says, you know what, I'm not ready for that July. I'm going to go to November, December, and they book some interim fight with somebody else, because he never lost a championship. And a lot of the fight fans and the community says, you know what, he is still the champion. We recognize him as a champ. I mean, a half a pound. The thing that I saw someone say is he didn't weigh 156. So he weighed 155.5. So on the scale, you can't say he's over. He's still 155. So I don't know, man. It is what it is. The rules are in place. It's unfortunate, but let's see what gets scheduled for that lightweight title. All the people in the lightweight division are chirping at each other. This division is moving, and it's exciting to see.
I like that.
The lightweight division is one of the most exciting divisions, in my opinion. You're not as light as the bantamweights, and you still have some of that knockout power that some of the heavier weight classes have. So it's kind of the perfect combination. I thought you brought up a good point, though, Justin, about Dubronx and pulling guard. He even pulled Justin Gaichi down. I think it counted as a takedown from the clinch. I was going to say he's also
in the Muay Thai clinch. He pulled guard.
Yeah. he's very strong from the clinch. That was very, I guess, surprising for me to see how much stronger he was than Gaichi in all of those exchanges. But yeah, he survived the early flurry from Gaichi. When Gaichi connects, he usually puts you out, or he puts you down, at least knocks you down. So good to see him recover from that and retain. He's still the champion in my eyes. So he retained the title that night. But yeah, great night of fights. And that Joanna fight, or not Joanna, Rose Namajunas fight, don't even want to spend time. You covered it well enough. But
Sleeper.
yeah, low sleeper there.
Yeah, I mean, as far as UFC pay-per-views go, it was what the fans wanted. It was good for UFC. You got a stupid, crazy knockout highlight reel. The only, I'm not going to say it again, but the snooze fest was, the lady fight, like Ben likes to say, that's the one where you get up and, go take your restroom break or whatever else you do, else you do on your breaks. The title fight, wasn't very long, but there was controversy, which is good for, the media, which is good for the headlines. The guy who, didn't make weight won, which also, helps, and it put more respect on his name. I saw not only from the casual fan, but a lot of MMA stars and people around the sport who know it really well saying, you know what, I will admit I wasn't high on him. I thought he had a lot of clout. I thought it was all hype, but now put some respect on his name, Birdman. So I was one of those guys who was kind of like, who is this dude? Like, he got a couple lucky, subs, but dude's a real deal.
33 wins, Ron. Only 3 of them haven't been a finish. This guy finishes fights.
That right there is a crazy, crazy stat. So overall, it was a good weekend for fight fans, unless you were Hispanic, Latino, Mexican. I have to bring this up. I know it's MMA, but what were y'all's thoughts on the Canelo fight?
Well, I knew that Bivio would be trouble for Canelo just because he had a better defensive rate than Shakur Stevenson. And we saw what a good jab does to Canelo when we saw Triple G fight him. And this was a younger, I won't say better than Triple G already, but he's at that level and the stylistics match up. And so if Canelo had trouble with Triple G, why would he not have trouble with a better defender and a better jabber in Bivio? So I kind of expected that. I knew that the scorecards would get funky in the end. They're going to still go and pull for Canelo. 115, 113 is ridiculous. Canelo maybe won 2 rounds.
Yeah.
He looked out of shape at that weight. I mean, he looked so tired in between rounds. This wasn't the normal Canelo. He's going to have to go back down to that 160. And it looks like Bivio's down to go chase him in those belts down there. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, takeaway.
I'm glad you brought up.
Go, Roland.
I was just going to say, I'm glad you brought up. I was just going to say, I'm glad you brought up the weight. I think Canelo finally bit off a little bit too much for him to chew.
Yeah.
He's been moving up in these weight classes for the past couple of years, and he's been met with success at each stop. But I think this was just a little too much for him. Like Justin said, you saw him have trouble with Triple G. This was just a bigger challenge, and he wasn't up to the task. Fight cards or scorecards are always a little funky, but you had to expect that they're going to pull for the money man, and that's Canelo right now. He's the cash cow. So
number one as far as money goes.
Crazy night of fights. Ron, I'll let you get to it because you brought it up, and I'm sure you're a little pissed because you were rooting for Canelo, or no?
Ron's anti-Canelo. You know this.
Being a Triple G fan, man, being a fan of Triple G, and the fact that he got robbed in the first Canelo fight, I was very happy to see this. I didn't like Canelo at the beginning because of Triple G fight, but then he grew on me. He was winning fights. He represents, our Mexican heritage and our Mexican culture, and I was starting to fall in love with the guy again. And then he comes out and he just puts up this totally complete dud of a fight. As soon as he walked out, he did not look in shape. That was the first thing I noticed. You've seen Canelo. I mean, I know he weighed more, but you've seen him, the 6-pack, the biceps, the oiled up. He came out, he looked flabby. He looked tired. He didn't look as focused. I mean, it might not be because of this. This is just something random, but my cousin Aldo said that he just started, kind of like doing the social life, drinking, He had never drank before, supposedly. Now he drinks, and
he golfs all the time now.
He golfs. His head is in a lot of other places now. He's this global superstar, so I don't think he was as focused, on this fight. I did like how he just admitted it. Post-fight interview, he just said, "You know what? The better man won. It's boxing. It is what it is." The only thing that he did kind of say was, "I felt I did enough to win the fight," which I think you just have to say that because you can't throw yourself completely under the bus. But he admitted to it. He was down for the rematch, which is really good. I don't like when they come out and say, "Well, I'm going to talk to my team and see what's best for me next," and yada yada yada. He was down for it. Bivol was down for it. Hopefully they do it again. Can Canelo win? Canelo, to me, always has a chance to win, even against a bigger guy. He just has to come in a little bit more focused. But man, Bivol dude impressed me. I'll be honest, I had never heard of this guy before. His defense was top notch. He had nothing on his face, no blemishes, even on the shoulders. Usually they'll get scratches, for maybe the tape, or say some laces.
His arm was jacked.
Yeah, I mean
that's the only thing because Canelo kept hitting arms, shoulders.
Yeah, nothing really. That guy's defense was very, very strong, and the speed of this guy. I mean, I had never seen Canelo get hit, once or twice. And this guy was hitting him 3-4 times. Fleury, very, very fast. He was pushing Canelo up against the ropes. Canelo just ran into the bigger, stronger guy, and he wasn't prepared for it at all. Is it over for Canelo? Hell no. As you guys said, if he goes back down in weight, fights the guys who he's supposed to, he can steamroll them. But I just don't know if Canelo's about that. I mean, do you want to go against guys who you're going to beat? You want the challenge, So I'm still excited for his career. I still want to see him box. I really still love the guy. I'm kind of glad that he took the L because I didn't want a undefeated Mexican, fighter. I'm a big Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. fan. I grew up watching him with my grandpa.
Gran campeón.
El gran campeón. So I'm kind of glad he took the L, brought him a little bit back down to earth. But overall, to sum it up, a great weekend of mixed martial arts and of boxing. Great for the fans, and I'm glad that it happened because we needed some solid performances on both sides. We always have a great MMA card, shitty boxing and great MMA, vice versa, however you want to say it. But overall, good weekend for fight fans.
And Justin, you being the MMA expert along with Ben, and the fight game expert along with Ben, is there what do we have to look forward to in the coming weeks? Are there any big fights or any big cards to look forward to?
Jamal, one of the twins is fighting this weekend. They're running it back. One of the Charlo brothers. There's a UFC, the next pay-per-view that's coming up. There's a fight night, but there's a pay-per-view coming up, 275. A lot of debates on whether that warrants being a pay-per-view. You got Yuri Prochaska and Glover Teixeira highlighting that card, and a lot of people are saying they're kind of the leftovers of the light heavyweight division. I'm not sure that's a $75 investment as far as watching that card.
Well, will Uncle Dana give it to us for that $55? He'll maybe.
No, I don't think he will. I think it's like a set thing as far as accounting goes. I don't think he will. But I don't know. We'll see. Rough and Rowdy, if you like that sort of thing, May 20th, I think that's coming up too. So.
Yeah, I mean, you have Glover Teixeira. I mean, this guy is
old.
He's still fighting. I mean, that's the person that I think of.
He's a champ, though.
I mean, I know he's a champ, but at light heavyweight, you're gonna have Glover Teixeira. I mean, where are the light heavyweights at? Put
this guy. John and DC are gone, and we saw what he did to that champion. So it's like, we thought, okay, it's gonna be in good hands with Jan Blachowicz when he won, but then Glover beat him, and you're like, okay, it's not in good hands. Lightweight divisions and that light heavyweight division, it's in shambles right now.
Yeah, I mean, and coming out right now, the odds, he's plus 165, and he's a champ. You have Shevchenko versus Santos, women's flyweight title by Wei Li.
Who Santos? Who's that?
This is what you said.
Bad card, bro.
This is what UFC 275 is saying that it's going to be.
Yeah.
Wei Li and Joanna.
Yeah.
Third fight.
Wei Li and Joanna. So that's 2 women fights. Whatever. Then you have Choi Kulabo, Emiv versus not a lot of big names here, guys. So I agree with the pay-per-view. It's probably a fight night. Should be a fight night. Another girl fight, Juarez versus Na. Wait, there's 1, 2.
Yeah,
There's four.
There was one time, the last time that Glover fought in the middle of the day, they gave it to us for free on ESPN Plus, and it was a numbered pay-per-view.
Maybe that might happen.
Maybe it happens again. I don't know. It's going to be in prime time. Oh no, actually, it's in Singapore.
Yeah,
maybe it happens, Roland. Maybe it happens.
Saturday, June 11th, 9 p.m. Central Time, Singapore Indoor Stadium.
Yeah, shout out.
Maybe it happens. Another freebie.
Shout out to Glover for being the champ in what used to be, to me, the most exciting division, or one of the more exciting divisions.
Exactly.
They used to say the light heavyweight champion is the baddest man on the planet. They used to say things like that, and no one says that now.
Not anymore.
All right. Well, that was the fourth quarter, but we got overtime. We got a little overtime. Justin was kind enough to include some OT for us, and it's not sports related. And
what is this? Oh my God!
We won't get into it too much, but
oh my God! For you guys who can watch this on YouTube, we're
not legal experts here. We don't claim to be. It's just news. It's pop culture, if you will. Big news: Young Thug and others are looking at RICO charges. Justin, what do you think about this? How do you think he's going to beat the case? Do you like the lyrics?
I don't know.
Do you think?
I don't know enough. Yeah, I don't know enough about the case. I know just some of the the rappers that are involved, Young Thug and Thugga, or Gunna, and some other people. I think I just want to know, as far as, does this kind of promote them more? Like, now their lyrics mean a little more because maybe there's some truth behind it. Do you feel like their street cred goes up? The clout that they have, does that move at all for you all when you're listening to the Young Thug's lyrics?
Well, I mean, it might mean that some of the stuff that he's been saying all these years is true.
Now, Roland, there was a guy who talked about Murder on My Mind. I don't know if you remember that song, but he ended up being going to jail, I believe, or getting guilty because of the lyric charges. Are they going to use that against Young Thug and Gunna? Is that what we're seeing?
That is one of the things that I've heard, that some of their lyrics are involved in the case. So they're going to try and get them on some of the stuff that they said in their songs that they've made and probably got popular off of. So a lot to unfold here. Ron, you've been quiet. What do you think about this?
Oh man, I'm not even.
Ron, is this
no
P?
He's pleading.
Is this P, Ron?
This is just no comment, man. I mean, I don't like, if it ain't like the real like Tupac and Biggie stuff. I mean, that shit to me was like real stuff. This is like Doug was hanging out with some guys in a car that did something, maybe, so it's just all, it's not cap. I'm not saying it's cap, but this is just all, clickbait to me, man. I'm not interested in it at all.
So it doesn't do anything for you when you're listening to Young Thug, or are you just not a Young Thug guy at all to begin with?
Nah, I mean, kind of, but nowadays, man, these guys walk around with like 25 bodyguards and, 5 or 6 SUVs and, all this stuff. They ain't about it, bro. They ain't about it the way that, the guys, I mean, to me, from
back in the day,
from an outsider's perspective, obviously I'm not involved in any of this at all, but from back in the day, it's just, and they have TikToks, and, social medias, and come on, man. Come on.
So like, if you have a TikTok, like, you're not P, like, that's not,
that's not what I'm saying, but how you going to be like all hard and all this stuff, and then you're getting indicted on RICO, maybe, kind of, sort of, you really didn't do anything. I don't know, man. It's just
I mean, the only thing I'm gonna say is these are some serious charges, so hopefully, some of this stuff is just accusations, but we'll see. And hey, with we talking about sports, you never know what you're gonna get. We change it up here through a little curveball on overtime.
I liked it.
a little culture minute. I thought it'd be fun for us to just talk a little shit about this case,
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to get to tonight? It's been a good hour plus with you guys. Getting back to the pod. Anything else you guys want to add? Anything to look forward to? I know Justin talked about some fights this weekend.
Nothing really, man. Just if whoever's watching or whoever comments, wherever you see this at, let us know what you guys want. Let us know what you want to hit more, what you want us to hit more. And that's pretty much it, man. Anything that you guys want to hear, let us know. We'll try to do as much content as we can. It's just, it does get a little tough, getting all the boys together at the same time. But we do the best that we can.
What about you, Justin?
And that's a wrap for me, man. I'm just thankful we're back to potting, and we got some new ideas coming out, so be looking out.
Yep. Be looking out for that. We're going to be coming at you guys hopefully weekly. So talk to y'all soon with the next podcast.
Peace. Thank you.